If you blink, you'll probably miss this mural. It only appears on screen for a few seconds, but after looking at it closely, I think it might be one of the most important clues in the entire movie. At first, it looks like the work of someone who's gone insane. There are random drawings, strange creatures, buildings, arrows, and pages of handwritten notes. But once you slow it down, you realize almost nothing on this wall is random. This mural is telling a story, and I think that story is Clark's. Before we dive into the drawings, let's start with the writing, because the writing is really what gives everything else context. The largest note on the wall reads, "The floor plans changed again. The roof is wrong. The roof is wrong. I don't know who signed the plans, but the handwriting looks like mine." If you've already seen the movie, those words should immediately remind you of Clark. Before he ever becomes obsessed with the Backrooms, we're told he wanted to be an architect. Throughout the film, he sketches buildings, drawings, maps, and spends countless hours trying to understand the layout of this complex place. Architecture isn't just his job, it's how he thinks. So when he writes that the floor plans changed, he isn't just saying he got lost, he's saying the building itself is changing. The maze is refusing to stay the same. And that's exactly what we see throughout the movie. Rooms appear where they shouldn't. Hallways connect in possible ways. Entire spaces seem to rewrite themselves. But then comes a line that completely changes the meaning of the mural. "I don't know who signed the plans, but the handwriting looks like mine." That's not just confusion. That's an identity crisis. There are two major theories about this. The first is that Clark painted the mural himself after spending months, or maybe even years, from his perspective inside the back rooms. His mind has deteriorated to the point where he can't remember creating it. The second theory is even stranger. Many fans believe the mural wasn't painted by Clark at all. It was painted by Pirate Clark, the Backroom's twisted copy of himself. That would explain why the writing feels familiar, but not quite his. It also explains why the mural sketches so high up on the wall. Pirate Clark's proportions make that much more believable. Personally, I don't think the movie gives us enough evidence to say either theory is correct, but I do think the movie wants us to ask that question. Who actually made this? If it's Clark, or if it's Captain Clark, how could we know? Then there's another sentence that's easy to overlook. Why think in terms of magic? Be realistic. At first, that sounds almost ridiculous. Nothing about the Backrooms is realistic. But that's exactly why the line matters. Throughout the movie, Clark constantly tries to explain impossible in the practical terms. He doesn't think of the Backrooms as something supernatural. He treats them like a puzzle, something that he can map out, measure, and try to understand. Even as reality falls apart around him, he refuses to let go of logic. The mural almost feels like that of a mindset of a losing battle. Now let's talk about the artwork itself. The centerpiece is tall, shadowy figure that almost everyone agrees is Pirate Clark. It's wearing the same oversized pirate hat from Clark's furniture store mascot, making it one of the clearest and visual references in the entire mural. Above him, there's a yellow figure reaching toward or falling through a window. That image becomes especially interesting after the ending of the movie. Without spoiling too much, windows become an important symbol throughout Clark's story. They're associated with escape, but also transformation. Depending on how you interpret it, Pirate Clark is either dragging someone away from freedom or leading them toward it. You'll also notice drawings of hazmated suited figures. Those certainly represent async researchers, which tells us something important. Whoever painted this mural has seen them before. That means the artist has spent a significant amount of time exploring the complex, not just wandering through it once. One detail that fascinated me is the calendar in the bottom corner. It seems insignificant until you remember that time behaves strangely inside the back rooms. Several fans believe the calendar represents Clark trying to track time as it slowly stops making sense. There's another phrase nearby that reads, Here and now is a two-way street. If that's referring to the moving between our world and the back rooms, then Clark is realizing something terrifying. Crossing between those worlds doesn't change your location, it changes your perception of reality. Then there's Cathedral labeled Unrealized. The movie never explains this directly. Some fans think it represents abandoned ideas, others think it symbolizes places that the Backrooms almost created but never fully completed. Either way, it fits one of the movie's biggest themes. The Backrooms don't simply copy reality, they imitate it, sometimes perfectly, sometimes almost too perfectly. That almost is what makes everything so unsettling. When you step back and look at the mural as a whole, I don't think it's meant to be solved like a puzzle. It's meant to show us what prolonged exposure to the back room does to a person. Clark entered the complex trying to map it, trying to understand it, trying to impose order on chaos. But over time, the opposite happened. The complex started rewriting him. His memories became unreliable. His identity became uncertain. Eventually, he couldn't even trust his own handwriting. And I think that's why this mural is so effective. It's not a map of the Backrooms. It's a map of Clark's mind after Backrooms got to him. And maybe that's the scariest idea in this entire movie. Because the greatest threat inside the Backrooms isn't getting lost. It's reaching to the point where you no longer know. Whether you're the one studying the maze, or the maze has been studying you all along.